This week on Couch Tomatoes, we're talking HBO's Watchmen and giving you our fresh picks on what to watch. What's up, guys? I'm Naz Perez. Welcome back to Couch Tomatoes, sponsored by Freschetta Pizza. This is a show where we talk about the latest TV and why you should tune in. And today on the show, we are diving deep into HBO's Watchmen. I am so stoked because joining me on the couch today is Shane Madej and Ryan Bergara from BuzzFeed's Unsolved. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Happy to be here again.
Happy to be back on the couch.
I'm excited you guys are here. And the beautiful Roxy Striar from Collider.
Hey guys, happy to be here for the first time.
And you guys have seen Watchmen, yeah?
Yes, we have.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, for sure. I joke because they are major fans, so I'm so stoked to get into this with you guys. So let's do this. Set in present day, 3 decades after the release of the graphic novel by Alan Moore, which takes place in the 1980s, the new series is already getting a lot of praise from critics and is currently a certified fresh with 98% on the Tomatometer at the time of this recording. Now, guys, Damon Lindelof, the creator, has been very open about the fact that this is not a remake, but a remix continuation of the 1986 comic. But I know Watchmen is very polarizing, so I need to know, what do people need to know when they tune into this show? Do they need to read the graphic novel or have seen Zack Snyder's film that came out in 2009 to know what's going on?
Well, this is much more relevant to the novel as opposed to the movie. We see things in episode 1, like the squid falling from the sky, that is reminiscent of the novel and the ending there, not the movie. But I think that you could go into this blind if you really wanted to. They're telling their own story with new characters. And so it kind of depends on how deep of a dive you want to do beforehand. But they're really trying to make it so that if you are a new fan to Watchmen, that you can be a new fan and still enjoy the series.
Do you guys think the same thing? Because I thought that at first, but then I was like, I don't know. There's things like The Watchman's Son is the name of the play that Jeremy Irons' character puts on. I'm like, how would you know? What do you guys think?
I'm trying to put myself in the brain of someone who is not familiar with it. I feel like I would be overwhelmed. I feel like people should look at their calendar, figure out how much free time they have. If you're a busy person, watch the movie. You'll sort of get it without the very good ending of the squid. If you have more time, read the novel. It's so good and it's very readable. It's not daunting.
I will say in today's age, though, to make someone have a homework assignment before you have to enjoy this, piece of work is a lot. I actually think you can go into it blind. I think it would help, obviously, to have some of the prior materials, but I do think it's very watchable on its own.
Right, and I love that watchable. And if you guys go to hbo.com/Watchmen, they created this PDpedia, and they have a lot of source material there to go along with the show. So I think that's kind of an easy way to get into it.
I didn't even know that.
But yeah, I want to get into the controversies of making the show. But before I do, I'm going to kick it back to a convo I had with Roxy about the best way to prep before a big TV binge. Check it out. Roxy, are you so excited to be on the show today?
Yes, thank you so much for having me over to watch some episodes and just kind of relax.
Relax? Can't relax. We have to stay active while we're watching TV.
What do you mean active?
You know, active, like standing up to go get food, walking all the way over to the kitchen, stretching to get that bomb food photo. It's all exercise.
Okay, that's the kind of exercise I can actually get behind.
Okay, good, because after our workouts, I have a reward for us. I made us this unreal Freschetta brick oven spinach and mushroom pizza. The crust is so crunchy and amazing, and there are all these mushrooms and spinach on it, which are basically superfoods.
100%, and thank goodness for pizza, because who knew watching TV was so much work?
Listen, it is a tough job, but someone's got to do it. All right, guys, so when the Watchmen graphic novel came out, it was groundbreaking in many ways, mainly because it was a reflection of our deepest fears, right? Like the Cold War was top of mind, nuclear apocalypse was still a threat, and I feel like this Watchmen series deals with some heavy issues as well, namely racism, but in the same bold-fashioned way that the comic book does. So why do you think Watchmen, the series, is so effective at tackling these issues?
I'll say that something about the sort of alternate reality that they craft. It's why science fiction works, because you've created this world that is not totally recognizable. There's something off in it. So the stuff that's true or that reflects our own society really it really pops.
Right.
I've heard people say like it seems strange that they're going with the Tulsa race riots and all this other stuff. But the other series, the comic did tackle Vietnam. So they're handling real life issues.
Yeah, and I will preface whatever I'm about to say with I am a chucklehead, so there is not a lot of weight to what I'm about to say. So take that with a grain of salt. However, I will say that I think there's something about Watchmen being a series where the characters are looking inward at their own morality, which is, it's like this introspective experience, which when it's against the backdrop of all these like fears of the time, it kind of results in like people looking inward at themselves when they're viewing, perhaps. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I think the series opens with a depiction of the Tulsa Race Massacre, right? That's very powerful. And when it's told through Watchmen or any sort of superhero story, I think it gets people to pay attention.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful.
I think that Watchmen's never been afraid to take a big swing. And that might work for some people, it might not work for others, but they are swinging right now. And they're saying, we're not afraid to tackle these massive issues in the same way that the original graphic novel was not afraid. So it's a different issue now that we are trying to talk about, but it's the same concept that they're saying, okay, we have a stance on this and we're going to take that stance.
Right, and I love the stance that they're taking because we never saw diverse superheroes in the Watchmen universe until now. Now the fact that Regina King is the face of it, I think that's pretty incredible. But I want to ask you guys, because I know you're super fans and Watchmen is so beloved, because there could be this argument here, right, that this could have been a standalone series. Alan Moore, the creator, has been very open. He doesn't like people touching Watchmen. He doesn't like people adapting it. He's not in the credits of the show or the movie. Do you agree with Moore? Do you feel like Watchmen should be untouched, or do you like this continued adaptation?
In my head, his voice kind of sounds like...
He's like Scrooge.
Yeah, kind of.
He's going to come after you.
And I know. Here's the thing.
You guys would know the next BuzzFeed's Unsolved.
I love him and I love Dave Gibbons for what they created because it was something that was really impactful for me.
Yeah.
And it is his baby. So I get why he wouldn't want it to be touched when he's not a part of it. I really do get it. I'm a creator and that's really challenging for somebody.
Yeah.
That being said, if you can't work on the art, I still want the art to be worked on because I still want to see more. As somebody, pun intended, I want to see more, just not Alan Moore. As somebody who loves Watchmen, how does that grow today in 2019?
Right.
How do we move that story forward? And just because he can't work on it doesn't mean there aren't brilliant minds out there like Damon Lindelof who can tackle it.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say Lindelof, of all people, I know like Watchmen, even before the movie came out, there were versions of the script that are horrible. They're not good.
Yeah.
And they eventually turned it into a movie that a lot of people like. Some people have issues with it, but having someone like Lindelof, who is a pretty thoughtful, creative person, like he's made a lot of shows that really challenge people and have a lot of new ideas. So it's sort of an ideal situation as far as...
He's also pretty good at handling universes and like, world building. I think it's also just like a curious question to think about, like, is the creator always the best person to move a story forward, like you were saying? Like, we saw that with like Lucas and Star Wars, and even like Stephen King having his issues with the original Shining.
Right.
But it is a question. I don't know if I have the answer to it. I do think I wish he would be on board, is I guess what I will say to that.
Yeah, but I love what they're doing without him, and I agree with you. Sometimes creators are too close to the material, and Shane, you brought up the film Watchmen, 64% on the Tomatometer.
That feels,
71% audience score. Roxy, I know you love it, but has over 1 million audience reviews. So I know a lot of people feel some type of way about the film. Personally, I love that they made it because I don't feel like one film can encapsulate the magicness of Watchmen. And I think you need a series to do that.
I think a series is a better format to do that as well. But I think that the movie was true to the graphic novel, which is why I liked it. And it's surprising that Alan Moore does not, because it's such a dead ringer. I mean, shot for shot most of the time. Yes, we do have some changes like the ending where it's an explosion as opposed to the squid. But there, for the most part, it's an homage in the best kind of way. So that's why it worked for me.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the ending because I wanted to bring that back to people maybe watching this show right now. Can we kind of explain the squid storm, Shane, that we were talking about before? Because if you watched the movie, didn't read the comic, you probably don't know what's going on.
You're like,
squid
why squids?
Yeah, exactly.
Squid Town.
Yes, in the comic, instead of setting off some sort of, it was like tied to Manhattan. They set off this bomb. In the comic, they transport this squid and make it look like an extraterrestrial from another planet, like we're being invaded.
Yeah.
It lands in New York. It's incredibly graphic and bloody.
Yeah, which is why there's a lot of predictions that the squids now falling from the sky is kind of a never forget, this is what can happen based off the graphic novel, not the movie.
But is it a continuation of the hoax, or is this residual from the transporting of, I guess, a giant squid that was created by a biologist?
See, Ryan, I'm with you. I feel like now the government's in on it, but we'll get to theories in a second.
Okay.
I want to talk to you guys about the standout performances, because whether you read the novel, watched a movie, you like it or you don't like it, the standout performances are unreal. We have 3 Oscar winners: Regina King, Jeremy Irons, Louis Gossett Jr. So what have been your favorite moments or performances so far?
I love anytime they cut to Veidt and Jeremy Irons, because I have no idea what's going on with him, which is similar to the comic, where for the first like 2/3 of the comic, you're like, what is this man doing?
It's very strange. He's like on his own little Great British Baking Show island.
He's in Wales.
he's like reenacting plays that he wrote. I was like, it's basically like just a continuation of his own ego, which is very telling of his character, right?
He's incredible, but for me, it is Regina King,
Yeah.
Regina
she's
King,
great.
Regina King.
Yeah.
She is so baller. The way that she even rolls onto beds, grabs the gun, like everything she does, she kicks butt in. But she's also this beautiful, wonderful family woman.
Yeah.
I just think that the way that they're depicting her is perfect.
I agree with you. She's a perfect balance of like strength and warmth, and she makes me like want to be a nun in some way. I'm like, my mom would be so proud. Yeah.
This week when it was the Christmas scene with her and her husband, and she
Yes.
just switches from, it was like this really wonderful, tender scene, and I was like, this is great. And then she just switches into like there's someone in the house.
Yeah, and she's like crawling in
Yeah.
the kitchen and going behind. Yeah, so good. I really enjoyed Tim Blake Nelson's
I was
performance.
just about to say.
Looking Glass, I think, is my new favorite Watchmen superhero, and that interrogation scene in the pod was so sick. He's so funny to
The
me.
second interrogation scene, which I guess isn't one, but it is, when he's
Yeah.
talking to Regina King in the car, when he just speaks with that almost robotic, even keel voice. It's pretty unsettling.
And he's like, is that why I'm crying under here or whatever? It's so good. But I agree with you guys, Jeremy Irons, every time I'm watching, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I have so many theories, which is why I want to get into theories. But really quick, we don't know the name of Jeremy Irons' character. So is he definitely Ozymandias?
He's Adrian Veidt, I think.
I think he is too.
We think, right?
There was
we
a
don't
headline.
know yet.
There was a headline that said Adrian Veidt is dead on one of the
Yeah.
newspapers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's Ozymandias.
Oh, he-
he is for sure.
He has to be.
Without a doubt.
And the purple and yellow cake, I was like, okay, this is him.
Yeah.
If he's not him, why are they showing us this man's birthday party 3 different times?
Yeah.
Very weird choice.
His anniversary, yeah.
Or how does he know to put on this play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does he know what happened?
I feel like I would not be utilizing you guys to the best of my ability. Discuss all the Easter eggs we've seen thus far.
I will say that when Unforgettable started playing, when
Put your fingers together. What are you doing? Okay, we're going to do this for each of our Easter eggs.
I'm talking
Okay,
like
go ahead.
Steven Spielberg. And
Yeah.
how he gives
Yeah.
every interview by doing this.
Yeah.
And then he'll do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anyways, when Unforgettable started playing, when he was walking around to get some more wine, I was like, this guy's going to get sniped in his own house. Judd, who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a palpable sense of dread this entire episode. Anytime he was alone, I was like, this guy's going to die.
Right.
And sure enough, he died. I'm
Why-
not saying I'm a prophet, but it happened.
I'm not saying I'm not Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Well, why is Unforgettable an Easter egg, though, for people who haven't seen it?
Oh, in the film Watchmen, Unforgettable plays when the comedian gets murked.
Yeah. Most perfect use of the song Unforgettable, by
It's
the way.
good.
In the opening of the film, the one part I loved about the movie.
The one part.
But
take it.
Unforgettable is also in the graphic novel, no? It's played
Is it?
when
I can't remember if they
Ozymandias'
mention it.
nostalgia perfume commercials are on.
Oh.
Come on, guys.
You got it.
Yeah, I feel so cool right now.
I forgot
Dunked
he
on.
had that funny perfume commercial.
What are some other Easter eggs?
There are also a ton of owls. Like through episode 1 and 2, there's an owl mug. There are kids dressed as owls. There's the homage to the ship in the sky. All different owl references based off of Night Owl, the character from both the movie and the graphic novel.
Right. And there have been 2 night owls
Yes.
in the universe, just so everyone knows. And Hollis Mason, correct, was the first one.
And Dan.
Dan Dryberg was the second one. I thought Don Johnson's character, Judd Crawford, not Judd Apatow,
Was gonna be the third one?
Is
I
Dan?
think he's Dan because he has the Under the Hood book on his
He
desk,
did, yeah.
which is written by the first Night Owl.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do we know the whereabouts of Dan? Does it say on that?
But he also was in Archie, which is the name of the owl ship. So I'm like, is this Dan Dryberg?
Good theory.
Thanks, guys.
There's been a few also. The ending of the pilot with the blood drip onto
Yeah.
the.
Classic.
I can't
Yeah.
believe that did not occur to me that they would try to like
Pay homage.
put that visual cue in there, because when it happened I was like, whoa. Like I got a little shiver when it happened.
Why is it so prolific? to
Because
people who
when
haven't
the
read?
comedian dies in the movie and in the comic book, he falls out of the window
And there's a
I
pin.
don't know if we can show it, but yeah, his pin falls off. No.
For license.
We'll leave it there.
Alan Moore will hate us.
He'll kill us.
I already imitated him. I'm already on his crap.
Sorry.
But yeah, he wears that iconic little smiley face pin. It falls down out of the window after him, and a little drop of blood just specks on it, and it becomes sort of a visual motif for the whole story.
And this was on the police badge, was it not?
Yeah.
So that one drop of blood, it was a little different, but a similar drop.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the comedian refers to the smiley face as a badge, not a pin.
Oh.
Yeah. Apparently pins are like not that badass or something.
Blood drops in this universe have a mind of their own.
Yeah, they do.
Very serendipitous with the way they fall.
Yeah. What about the newsstand?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder what they're getting at and how they're going to use that to tell different stories throughout the first season of this, or possibly only season, I've heard.
In the book, it was always just sort of a weird glimpse into like the common folk, because they would just cut to conversations between them.
And then we showed the actual comic that he was reading.
Yeah, the pirate comics, which in this feels like the American hero story is like their embedded story. So I hope we see more. I was glad we saw more of it in episode 2. I wonder if they're going to continue that.
Another, I don't know if it's an Easter egg or theory, but I feel like there were a lot of twists and turns in the graphic novel. And when we see that Regina King's character has been shot, the next thing that we see is her in the hospital with somebody who possibly could have shot her if he is a bad guy.
Judd Crawford.
Exactly. So there are a lot of moments like that in the movie and in the novel where the next image you see is actually the answer to the question you've been asked.
Oh, that's a really good Easter egg. And I think you're right, because when Angela asked Judd, did you get shot too? I feel like he looks at his shoulder and he's like, everyone got hurt. And he doesn't really answer the question there.
And he says everyone else died except for us, so maybe he shot her and for some reason has a soft spot for her, so brought her to the hospital.
Well, let's get into that. What are some theories and predictions that you guys have for the show moving forward, or flashbacks or characters that you want to see?
I'm super focused on Hooded Justice and who that is and what's happening. In the second episode with Mueller, the woman that we see who goes and transcribes in English, that last name is who Hollis is referencing in the novel could possibly be Hooded Justice, but maybe a relative because it's a boy, or is it Will? I mean, I have so many theories about who's under that hood.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's Will Reeves. Do you guys think so? Because he wears a lot of red, and the rope that's used to, hang Judd is similar to the rope that he had.
Possibly. I know that we see in the TV show that it's a white man under that hood, but that could be history just.
That's also the TV show within the show, and maybe
American
it's
Hero's Story.
It could be just some whitewashing commentary.
Yeah, commentary on whitewashing.
Oh, I thought it was like the Black Freighter. You know how the Black Freighter was a comic within a comic?
That's for sure what they're doing with it. Yeah.
I think it could be Will. I'm going to say, I'll go out on a line there. I think it could be Will.
What are some other theories you guys have, or stuff that you'd like to see happen?
I'm very curious how they're going to work Dr. Manhattan into it, because they had that one little clip of him just being on Mars, like tearing his little palace down. I was like, what's he up to?
Yeah.
I think there's no way he's on Mars.
He's back, right?
There's no way he's on Mars because we've referenced it 50 times.
Yeah.
He's on Mars. He's on Mars. If he was actually on Mars, why do we keep saying he's on Mars?
Right, and you know what else they reference a lot? They say that he doesn't have the power to shapeshift into someone else, so it makes me think that maybe Ozymandias or Jeremy Irons' character, all those clones he has, maybe, Dr. Manhattan is his tinkering.
I wonder
because
too,
the castle kind of looks like his house.
And him reenacting the whole accident that turned him into Dr. Manhattan, or that turned, I wonder if it could be him.
Can you actually explain that and go into that for people that haven't read the novel or the movie and what that play was?
Yeah, so
Watchmaker's son.
So Veidt is if it is Veidt, who I said, Jeremy Irons' character is reenacting the initial accident that created Dr. Manhattan when he got caught inside a testing chamber. And I don't know why he's so obsessed with it.
And he's very method with recreating it.
Yes, he is.
He sets a man on fire.
His writing's so terrible, and he's like, I need real tears.
I love when the other clone he's like, you'll be him now. And the guy was like, yay.
I know.
You're going to burn up tomorrow.
Burn alive.
That was so wild to watch because as I'm watching, I'm thinking there is no way he's actually burning a person. These are great special effects, or he's got these robots.
Yeah.
He went there.
And then he opens the door and the guy was Kentucky Fried.
Yeah.
He was definitely burnt to a crisp.
Straight up. So they're reenacting that scene, showing how he got to be. which is kind of great for people who didn't read the novel or who had never seen the movie, because now they know what the origin story is.
Right.
Also low stakes, by the way. I do love the moment of him, me and Shane talked about this before, that shot of Dr. Manhattan just destroying his castle like a kid playing with Tinker Toys.
Yeah.
It just cuts to this very ambient shot. There's no noise. It's just him like knocking stuff down on Mars.
Yeah.
Like he's just bored up there.
And for everyone watching, just so you know, we've only seen 2 episodes so far. And another big thing that we learned in the episode last night was that Will is Angela's grandfather. So where do we think that storyline's gonna go?
I think it's difficult because right now people don't even know that she's a police officer, and then they don't know she has this other secret identity as well. And now it's her family. So she's already protecting him before she knows that it's her grandfather. Now that she knows that, she's not going to turn him in. And we don't even know if he is the one who hung the chief of police, even though he asks her, do you think I could lift 200 pounds?
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to team up in some way.
It was pretty obvious, though, the hiding spot that they found the cloak.
Yeah, I wondered that. Yeah.
When they found Don
A little
Johnson's
too
cloak or Judd's
convenient.
cloak.
Yeah, Judd Crawford. I keep wanting to call him Judd Apatow, and in my head, Judd Crawford. I don't know many Judds.
I think that is not his.
Right?
I think
Yeah.
Think
that
that
it
it was
is
placed there?
No, I do not think that. I think it's his father's.
Oh.
Because that picture.
I think a lot of this show is about paying for the sins of your family members and older generations, and I think that it's there possibly as a reminder to him as what his family has done and how he has to fight against this, because it would just be too obvious and too early of a reveal to have him be that bad of a person. And there's so many other questions that would come up if he's really a member of the KKK, if he is this white supremacist, then why does he live his life like this?
Well, the thing is, he has that painting up, which
Yeah.
is the title of episode 2, right? Martial feats of the Comanche horsemanship.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, how is this white knight reference going to be tied together? Jeremy Irons' character rides a white horse. There's a white horse in the painting. The White Knight is another name for the Tulsa Massacre.
yeah.
How is this all going to play together?
Speaking of which, I'm kind of curious how Rorschach became the figurehead for white supremacy in this show.
It feels accurate.
I kind of get it.
Yeah, because
I wonder if we're going to see any of that.
Why is that accurate to people who haven't watched? Because he was ultra violent in a way, or
Well, I guess that makes
extremist
sense,
in the
yeah.
comic? Why do you guys think?
I think just because he was an extremist, and it seems like something that someone would latch on to. Like, they're
twist.
certainly misinterpreting
Yeah.
a lot of his like ideas, but he did send his diary to the newspaper at the end of the comic.
Right.
If Rorschach was alive today, I don't think he would be a member of this group. I just
No.
think based off of what he stood for, people could read what he was saying and interpret it this way.
Almost like a Rorschach blot.
Yeah.
Oh.
And and if you guys actually go on that PDpedia that I was telling you about, I think they explain what happened in those 30 so years.
Oh,
and
really?
how the mask evolved. If you don't need to read it, but I
just like
hope
a
that they
PDF?
explain this. It's like a PDF. I hope they explain this in the show. But I'm curious to know, when you guys read Watchmen graphic novel, I feel like everyone kind of sat around their couch and they were like, who do you relate to more? And for a lot of people, it was Rorschach, right? Like,
I read it when I was in college, and I was like, yeah, he's cool. But in retrospect, as I've grown up, I'm like, yeah, that guy had some issues.
that's an issue. So how do you feel about, his iconic mask now being the face of the 7th Cavalry?
When I read this, there was nobody that I was like, I want to grow up to be like that person.
They all got some issues.
Yeah.
I wanted to be Dr. Manhattan.
Did you?
You want to be
You
cold,
like that
emotionless.
boot thing, huh?
Just not wearing clothes.
I mean, that would be kind of cool, but so emotionless. You don't want to be sleeping with somebody while you're working on your work outside. It's
He
not
just
ideal.
has such a good memory in the comic. He's like, in 1959, I was doing this. And he's like, on November 8th, I was doing this. I'm like, that would be a really great skill to have.
Well, there were aspects of each of the characters that you kind of wanted, right? But except for some of them, like the comedian, I would say outright, probably none of us
Bad
want
guy.
to be any part
Bad guy. We all agree.
We are not fans.
Weird sense of
Yeah.
humor.
Yeah.
But I like the references to Rorschach and people who are looking at either the Minutemen or the Watchmen and pulling different traits from them, and that's the start for this
Right.
series.
What are some other shows on TV that you think people should check out if they're into Watchmen? So shows like Watchmen.
I think if you're into Watchmen, a show that I love that people have not been really talking about is Doom Patrol. Now, it's a DC property, so if you like Watchmen, it's a comic book property by DC, and it's weird. So that in that aspect, it's kind of similar because it's very offbeat. Like squid falling from the sky, that kind of stuff happens on the show all of the time. And it's also got that hero aspect where the heroes are not the best people on the planet. They definitely have more layers to their onions. And like I said, it's off, it's strange, it's on DC Universe, and if you want to be part of something that seems really weird but also kick butt, then Doom Patrol's where it's at.
Oh, I'm sold. Shane, what about you?
I'd go with Leftovers, which is Damon Lindelof's show before it was also HBO. Roxy, you were saying you were a fan.
Massive.
It's
Love
incredible.
That show.
I think it's very handy for people watching Watchmen because you sort of get a feel for how he approaches stories because he always like comes at stuff from a weird angle.
Flashbacks as well.
So many flashbacks. He sort of took everything he learned from Lost. I know a lot of people have some beefs with that show. I love it. And improved upon them.
Yeah.
And so when I heard he was doing Watchmen, I was like, yeah, perfect.
And I think I've heard through the rumor mill that like Leftovers, you know how certain episodes focus on one character? I heard that that's what's coming up or what we should look forward to for Watchmen, yeah. What about you, Rye?
I would say, I guess not in the sense of tone, because the show I'm about to suggest is not as strange or weird as Watchmen is,
Right.
but in terms of dystopian future, I would say Man in the High Castle. That's basically the entire premise of that show is this alternate set of futures, and if you're into that sort of thing, it's a fun show.
Yeah. I would say check out The Boys because I love seeing superheroes in this raw, real human way, which is why I love Watchmen. And I think The Boys does that. And season 2 comes out summer 2020. So you have time to catch up on it. So as major fans, we could obviously go on about Watchmen all day, every day. Are you guys going to stick with it? Do you like where the story's going so far?
Yeah, I'll watch it until, as long as it's on, I'm going to watch it. I love Damon Lindelof. I love Watchmen. I'm here. I'll be here to talk about it whenever you want.
Yeah, I think I'll stick with it. I have a TV.
Yeah.
So as long as I have a TV, I'll watch it.
100%. I'm a watch woman now. This is definitely going to be a show that I stay with no matter what, even if there are highs and lows, because I feel like they know what they're doing. They have an end game, and I've got to get there.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see what happens because I heard that the series gets so good. But now it is time for our fresh picks. These are shows. Doesn't have to do with Watchmen, just any show on TV that you think people should add to their watch list. What are you guys watching?
On Becoming a God in Central Florida. If you've never heard of that, then you're not alone because nobody knows what that show is.
It's on Showtime, yes?
Yes, it's on Showtime. It's Kirsten Dunst. It is weird. It is a pyramid scheme show, and you're watching it all happen screaming at the television like, don't do it! Every single episode. I can't believe this isn't getting more buzz right now because it's awesome. It's really great.
Do you think it's because it's on Showtime? Maybe it's like hard for people to find?
I don't know. I just think that it's there's so much content now. There's so many TV shows that I think that this might be like Succession in season 2. More people are going to catch on to it if we get there. Hopefully enough people watch that we do. But if you are interested in it, you'll know off the first episode if you like it. The way the first epised ends, you're either in or you're out.
I think the first episode's for free on YouTube, too.
Love that.
Yeah, how about that?
From the
That's right,
YouTube king himself.
It's a shared crown.
Kings.
YTK.
Sorry, Ryan was the OG.
Yeah.
Ryan's like gonna kill me.
Unbelievable.
Shane, what's your fresh pick?
I would go with it just ended Righteous Gemstones. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. I'm not always sold on Danny McBride's stuff, so I approached it with caution. It's got the usual like incredibly vulgar vibe to it, but it really ended up surprising me. I wasn't totally sold from episode 1, but by the end of the season, it lands in a place that's surprisingly heartwarming. It's weird. It's the most vulgar, insane, heartwarming show I've ever watched.
Is it funny?
It is very funny.
Okay.
Also, there's a woman on it named Edie Patterson who I haven't seen in anything else. I think she wrote for SNL and was on Vice Principals, but she is so funny.
So good in
Check it out.
Yeah.
You sold me.
That's what I'm here to do.
watch it right now.
Yeah.
There is a part of me that wants to say Great British Baking Show just because of
So
just
good.
because of Jeremy Irons' Birthday Cake Island, but I will say
great tie.
I'm just gonna say The Good Place. I don't know. I know everyone knows The Good Place is great. It's the last season. You could watch it live. Not a lot of great shows, are actually live on television where you can watch it and it becomes an event. Get it while it's hot.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. I'm watching Living with Yourself. Have you guys seen that yet? With Paul Rudd on Netflix.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd playing Paul Rudd and opposite Paul Rudd.
Oh yeah, I saw that on a bus stop.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very easy to watch. The episodes are like 25 minutes long. There's only 8 episodes. There's a great cliffhanger at the end for season 2. And Paul Rudd's just so likable and funny. And there's a Tom Brady cameo that's a little controversial right now, but that's all I can say. But it's definitely a reason to tune in.
You know what? I've got my finger on the pulse of sports so well that when I watched that first episode, he showed up. I was like, oh, who's this guy? And then in the next episode, they mentioned it was Tom Brady. I was like, no idea who that was.
You are sitting next to a Bostonian right now. My heart hurts.
Oh.
My heart hurts.
He
You
seems
didn't
like
know
a cool
Tom
guy.
Brady. You
That
sat
makes
me
me
next to
happy.
somebody who doesn't know Tom Brady.
I don't know.
Is the twist there's a third Paul Rudd?
Well, you'll have to.
watch
This is a
and
no
find out.
spoiler show,
Triplets.
Ryan, so
Rudd
I can't
triplets.
disclose that information. But yeah, I think we
Triple
should-
Rudd.
Sweating at the
I'm
thought of
good.
it.
I don't think I can handle that. I love him so much. All right, guys. Well, that is our show. I couldn't have done it without our unmasked vigilantes, Roxy, Shane, and Ryan. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the couch today. And for more on Watchmen, head on over to RottenTomatoes.com. Also, please comment below and let us know what you think about the series so far. We love reading your theories. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Join us next time as we talk all about The Mandalorian on Disney+. So stoked. I'm Naz Perez, and I'll see you guys next time.